What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 6th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $89,600 right now with 10 hours and 55 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are with a little bit of a spill over the past couple of days. We do have a higher low still, and I do believe that at this point, that low there at about $88,000 it really does stand a chance to be the higher low of which we build from here and we push higher. I actually made a post about that on x.com. There's a decent chance that this was the higher low, and I made that literally on the hour that the low was in, and that we push past 94K from here. I should have said push past 95K because I would think really we probably do at least push on to 96, 97K, somewhere around there. If you guys are looking to follow me on x.com, by the way, it's at C_Zar_69420. That's me. That's the new handle. Okay, if you've been following me and you remember at Chris Harris 85, I changed it to C-Zar. I figured it should match the name a little bit more. They don't allow for dashes or anything in the name, so I have to use underscores. But maybe I'll redo it again. I don't know. But that's the handle at the going moment. Anyways, Bitcoin here 89.6K with 10 hours, 54 minutes left in the day. Let's get into it, okay? Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Here we are, 1 hour time frame looking at this. We are consolidating. We are being boring. It is a Saturday. Typically, we are very boring on Saturdays, right? You can look back in time. When was Bitcoin last boring with very low levels of volume? Well, that was back all the way over here. You can only imagine what day this was. This was, yes, Saturday. In fact, this was the very last Saturday we had. If we scroll out some more, we zoom out some more, where was the lowest amount of volume? Right here. Where was the most boring price action? It was pretty boring here, to be fair, but this is pretty boring too, and this was on Saturday. Saturdays are typically pretty damn boring. That's all I'm trying to say. So the fact that we're doing this kind of price action with this kind of volume, I'm not surprised. If we do break out to the upside, cool. We're not going to go far. If we break out to the downside, cool. We're not going to go far, right? I doubt that we're going to go too far. It's possible that we could go below this low. We are calling for a low here, but could be wrong. Looking at this, though, looking at this bottom so far, it looks like you have ascending lows with a flat top. That makes me think that we would break out to the upside. Looking at, and I mean, we did find support here, too. I guess we didn't find support at prior resistance, to be completely fair. That doesn't mean that we have to. Low to high here, and we're not going to take the fake out high. We're going to take the initial high of this move. Right at the 0.5, Bitcoin has liked to find support at the 0.5 lately. If we move up from here to the 236, then we move back down. The statistical probability that we go down to the golden ratio or even through it goes up a little bit. So do keep in mind 87.5K to 84.9, 87.5 to 84.9 is still a possibility. This range here is very possible. You know, if we break out to the downside, okay, well, it's more likely, I suppose, that we'd go to the golden ratio. Where if we go to the 236 and then we come down, it's still a good chance that we bounce at the golden ratio. But if we do this, there's more of a chance that we go down to the 786, 886. Does that make sense? And maybe that's what we're due for. Maybe that's exactly what we'll do. Bitcoin has been finding support at its 0.5, resistance at its 236, and then building lower, or resistance at its 0.5, support at its 236, and then building higher. If this fib was flipped around, we've been seeing that procedure a lot, this reaction between the 0.5, the 236, and the golden ratio, and these lower ranges. If Bitcoin were to go up here, and we did some type of an ABC correction, I mean, that C leg would take us right to the 786, and Bitcoin has had a bit of a flirtation with its 786 over the past few months as well. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. And if we were to move down at this pace or move up at this pace, it might be Monday or even Tuesday that we start to recover. Let's look at the indicators real quick. I want to be clear. I'm not calling for the downside. I could see it happening. I really could see it happening. At this point in time, we are going with this being the low, but that is a kind of weird fib to find support at, and we're not really at any areas of price that make a whole lot of sense. But that's okay. That really could be the low right there. Looking at these indicators, stochastics seem bullish at the moment. The MACD is useless. And the RSI, it's bearish, but there are some bullish implications here. Bullish because, sorry, bullish because we've broken out of this downtrend. Okay, finding support at the 40, building up higher. Bearish because we're spending most of our time below the 50 at this point, right? Most of our relevant time here. Get above the 50, start being productive, get into the overbought zone, try to reject the 50 or find support at the 50 at least, or the 40. Try to avoid getting into the oversold zone after you get overbought. That's what would prevent me from thinking that we go lower. At the moment, though, I'm not seeing enough in the RSI or on any of these indicators to suggest that we don't go lower. We probably do go higher from here, but is that just going to be a lower high at which we go lower from? That question still remains open. If we look at this on a 4-hour time frame, I like the bounce off the oversold zone here. I actually really like that a lot. I mean, depending on what reaction we get here, that could actually be really good. Because we were getting overbought, and now if we're not getting oversold, or before we were, that actually looks pretty good. Let's just see what we can do over the next day or two. I think Sunday will definitely dictate whether this is the low or not. Stochastics would make me think that we move higher, and the MACD being here suggests that we're at a point for support. So, I mean, I guess that's what the call is then, right? From a low to a high, let's just see. Right there below the 382. I don't know. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with this call that this is the low. I'm very open-minded to lower prices, though, and I won't be upset if we see lower prices, okay? But I am sticking with it. I think this is the low. Yeah, the 4 hours giving me some confidence there. If we're looking at the daily time frame, a little bit of confidence here, too. I mean, you're flipped green on your MACD. You could definitely build some more bullish momentum going into next week. There's not really any signs here that are too positive, though. I mean, to be completely fair. Stochastics are overall bullish. We would expect continuation to the upside here if we bounce here. If we cross below the 50, maybe we would expect to go a little bit lower, but I'm not really sure of that at the moment. The RSI, we have broken out of our downtrend. We do have higher lows and higher highs. I would think that we continue to build from here. If we come down, we'll come down a little bit, but then we'll continue to build from here. And whenever I say we'll come down a little bit, I mean maybe if the RSI were to come down, we'd close just below this low, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy at all. We'd bounce probably right off that 40 if we were to go lower at all. And then our next reading should take us up to the 60 or higher. That'd be my thoughts. So yeah, I'm confident with it. I'm comfortable with it. I think that this was the low yesterday. I think that is a higher low that we can count on. And I think we will continue to build from here. If we're looking at this from the all-time high to the low on the 21st, the expectation here would be that we move up above the 382. We've already interacted with some prices above the 236. Now we're potentially finding support here. I would think that we go up to the 0.5, somewhere around $100,900, right above $100,000 there, right at these prior areas of support. We probably find resistance here, and then from there we'll see what we do. Do we find support at the 382 and then build from there? Do we go all the way back to the 236? It's somewhat common to do. I would think because we've already found support at the 236 here, if we do move up here, I would think that we don't come back down to find support on it again. We probably would find support at the 382 and then build from there, but we'll see. That's neither here nor there, or I guess that's more there than it is here. Here, now, right here, the call is that we go up to about $100,800, $100,900, something like that, okay? Just below 101K. Maybe 101K itself is the top, but something around these areas of support to find resistance, that's the next call. And I think we'll be seeing that sometime by the end of next week, so over the next 9 days or so. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.